Marcy Tizard works as an aide to Senator John McGlory, who is seeking re-election. She is smart, driven, and used to the frantic pace of life in Boston. In the midst of campaigning, his staff faces a challenge. They need the votes of voters of Irish descent, but their support is not as evident as they would like. The senator's chief of staff, Nick, decides to send Marcy to Ireland to find possible relatives of McGlory and thus attract the attention of the Irish diaspora to him. Marcy perceives this as a pointless waste of time, but cannot refuse the assignment. Arriving in Ireland, Marcy immediately finds herself in a completely different world. Here everything lives according to its own laws, no one is in a hurry, people enjoy a measured life, and outsiders arouse keen interest. In the small village where she arrives, traditional festivals are held, where introductions and matchmaking are arranged. The first thing Marcy does is check into a local hotel combined with a pub run by Sean, a man with a sharp temper and a strong accent. He is not thrilled with the presence of an American woman and immediately makes it clear to her, not hiding his skepticism. On the first night, Marcy tries to explain to the locals the reason for her arrival, but faces a wave of ridicule and confusion. Some of them claim their families are connected to the McGlorys, but none have solid proof. She realizes the task is harder than it seemed. The next morning, Marcy decides to contact the local archives, but runs into bureaucratic difficulties. The archive worker, an elderly man named Finbar, is slow to help her, telling stories of his youth and village customs. An irritated Marcy tries to speed up the process, but this only makes things worse. In Ireland, rushing is not honored. That same day, Dermot, the organizer of a Matchmaker festival, decides that Marcy should not remain single and takes it upon himself to find her a match. Despite her protests, he arranges for her to have a series of meetings with various candidates. This leads to a series of funny and awkward situations. One man is too talkative and won't let her get a word in edgewise, another is silent and only nods in response to her questions, a third is so keen on tradition that he tries to arrange a wedding for her at once. Marcy is very annoyed, but realizes that it is useless to resist. The village lives by its own rules. Meanwhile, she develops an uneasy relationship with Sean. Their conversations often turn into arguments, but there is a hidden attraction in these arguments. Sean teases her for her straightforwardness and American habits, and Marcy is annoyed by his calmness and unwillingness to see the world the way she is used to. Behind his abruptness, however, she begins to notice warmth and caring. One day when Marcy is fishing with the locals, she accidentally falls into the water, and it is Sean who helps her to get out, accompanying everything with sarcastic remarks, but in his eyes you can read concern. Gradually Marcy begins to see Ireland and its people in a different light. She gets used to the leisurely pace, begins to appreciate the traditions, and even finds pleasure in evenings spent in the pub talking to the locals. Her irritation is replaced by curiosity and then genuine interest. One evening she goes for a walk with Sean around the neighborhood, and he tells her about his childhood, village life, and why he never wanted to leave here. It's the first time he opens up to her, and Marcy begins to see him not just as a gruff pub owner, but as a man with a deep soul. One evening during a celebration in the village, Marcy finds herself the center of attention. The locals, already accustomed to her presence, persuade her to participate in the dance. She refuses at first, but succumbs to everyone's merriment. Sean offers her his hand and they dance to live music. This moment brings them even closer together. He whispers something funny in her ear and she laughs, feeling truly free for the first time in a long time. That evening, she realizes that her feelings for him are growing stronger. However, reality reminds itself. Marcy's time in Ireland is coming to an end, and she has found no evidence of the senator's connection to the village. She realizes that the mission is a failure, but suddenly realizes that she no longer cares so much about completing the assignment. What started out as a job has turned into something more. She has grown to love this village, these people, and this rhythm of life. On the day she leaves, Sean avoids seeing her, but when she is about to leave, he does show up. Their conversation is brief but filled with emotion. He doesn't ask her to stay, but his gaze speaks volumes. At the last moment, already at the airport, she notices him. He has come to tell her that he can't just let her go. He confesses that he has strong feelings for her and offers to stay. Marcy hesitates, because her life in America, her career, and her familiar world are so far away from this place. But in the end she decides to stay. She realizes that in this village she has found not just the senator's ancestors, But something much more valuable, real feelings and a place where she is truly happy. They return to the village and a new life begins for Marcy. She no longer feels like a stranger, and Sean helps her adapt. Their relationship develops gradually, and every day she discovers new sides of his character. The villagers no longer see her as a tourist, but accept her into their community. She participates in the life of the village, helps out in the pub, and begins to recognize traditions and customs that used to seem strange to her. She learns to cook local dishes, takes part in village festivals, and realizes how much she has changed. After a few months, she realizes that she can no longer imagine her life without this place and these people. She no longer needs noisy Boston and political intrigue here in this small Irish village. She finally feels at home. In the final scene, they sit on the porch of a pub watching the sunset. Sean takes her hand and they are silent, savoring the moment. No more words are needed. Marcy has found her place in this world and she is happy.